Hi everyone, my name is Alicia and I'm here helping to spark a rebellion with Extinction Rebellion in Ontario. And I wanted to give you all a little bit of direction on how to give the talk, the presentation heading for Extinction and what to do about it. So the first really important thing you want to do is understand what you're talking about, and you really don't have to know it all. And don't try to know it all, but talk about the things that you do understand, and you can feel free to take things out that you don't. Talk about your personal experience, and your understanding of the science. Okay, with the recording that we put out here on YouTube, that was meant as a sample and a guideline, and so I didn't add any of my personal experiences. So it's kind of dry. I wouldn't, if I were doing the presentation, I would add in some personal stories and relatable things for folks to relate to my experience with it. Okay, so you want to bring your own experience to the table. And that leads into the next thing, which is bring your own style. I already mentioned to add and remove things that just don't feel right, as long as it still makes sense to you. And you really want to be engaging with your audience. And the whole purpose is to invoke an emotional response so that folks are inspired to take action. So be engaging. Tell your own stories, add quotes, take things out that don't feel comfortable, etc. You really also want to know your audience and cater the talk to them. So if you're speaking to a room full of intellectuals or academics, you really want to keep those scientific details in there. If you're speaking to, let's say, seasoned activists, then perhaps they already know a lot of the issues and they've already been very active. You might want to focus on the direct action part and civil disobedience if that's what you feel comfortable doing. General public, you might want to keep it very well-rounded because you really never know who's going to be in the audience. It really depends on who, what, where, like what you're gearing your talk, where you're having your talk, and who will be in attendance. Okay, we just want to make sure that it appeals to everybody in the room. So you also want to spread the word in creative ways, put up flyers, try and get as many people as you can to come out to the talk. Obviously you want to create events on Facebook and everything else, but put up posters all over town. Give yourself some time to advertise. You don't want to book a talk and then give yourself only a week to practice, okay? And that is obviously another point, is you really want to be prepared. Practice the talk as much as you possibly can. And that's another reason why we put that video up, so that you can just listen to it, familiarize yourself with the science, learn what you need to learn, get comfortable. You don't have to go by that script word for word. It's just meant as a guideline, but definitely you want to make sure that you are prepared. You also want to make sure that you have everything that you need with you, and we will go over a list in a couple minutes here. Don't be afraid to take breaks and pauses, okay? Drink water. Yeah. It's important to let the information sink in, and especially if you're feeling nervous, people don't really notice. You notice more than the audience will notice if you need to just take a second, a couple seconds, take a drink of water, collect your thoughts, and move on. Okay. So you really want to leave the question and answer period until the end. And if you have a huge audience or a rather large audience, you might want to encourage folks to come up to you one-on-one afterwards so that they can ask their questions, rather than, passing the mic along to every person in the room who has something to say or who wishes to share something. It makes it a little bit easier, and it takes a lot less time. This talk does take up to an hour to deliver, depending on your style and how you cater it to your audience. Okay, so after about an hour, people start getting a little bit antsy. You don't want to keep people there too long. All right. And you do want to give them time to mingle and to create their own affinity groups or working groups, or decide how they might take action in your community from your inspiring talk. Okay, and just before you finish up the talk, make sure you pass out the sign-up sheets, so that encourages people. You get people's emails, you can reach out, you guys can plan something in your area, and it's just helpful to know who was there, what the feedback was. And you can also ask for donations. If your event costs money out of pocket, you can recoup it. You want to pass around a donation jar, and you want to do that just before the talk ends, because you don't want everybody to just be like, okay, it's done, and get up and walk out of the room, right? You want to make sure that if you can, if possible, that you can recoup some of the costs for, even printing flyers and posters and advertising, whatever it is that has cost you money out of pocket. So let's move along. What to bring? Well, first, let me just say, obviously, you need to book a venue. And it's best to book a space for upwards of 25 people. It really depends on your community and where you're hosting the talk. You can do this in a really small version too. You can host a potluck, at a community hall. It doesn't matter where or how you give the talk, but make sure that you do have, hopefully have enough seats for everybody who would like to attend. So what you need to bring, obviously, first you need to make sure that you have all the equipment that you need to give the presentation, like a laptop, the USB, a projector, mic, whatever. If you're using the online version of the presentation, then you would need an internet connection as well. You can download a copy of this so that it can be you can do it while offline as well. So it's really up to you and your venue. You want to bring a hard copy of the talk with your notes on it, just in case you get tripped up. You also want to bring a copy of the references. There's always somebody in the audience who will ask you, where'd you get this information? And you will have a copy with you on hand, maybe two. It's up to you. You want to bring the sign-up forms and some, clipboards and pens so folks can fill up those forms. And that will allow you to reach out to them after the fact and follow up with a date of action. Okay. You want to bring a jar or a container for your donations, make it nice. Write a little note on it, a little thank you note, make it, be creative with it. Okay. Also, direction signs you want to print out. It makes things really easy for folks. Say you're doing the talk in a church or the third story of a downtown building, like who knows. You really just want to make sure it's really easy for people to find where it is you are hosting this talk. So we'll link to those as well for you here. Or actually, when you sign up, fill in the form that's linked below. You will be emailed all of these resources, okay, that I'm talking about. So the last thing you want to make sure that you have is any posters or stickers or leaflets, any promotional material that you wish to bring. It is optional, but we'll send you links to those sorts of things as well. Okay, that's about it, I believe. Oh, you may want to do it with two people. It is a little bit easier when there's two of you up there, and you can switch back and forth or however you want to do it. If anybody in the audience decides they want to give this talk too, you can very easily direct them to the sign-up forms and everything they need to do this as well. The more talks, the better. We need people to understand exactly what is happening right now, and it's not like our mainstream media is really covering all of this important information. And it's important that we inspire folks to take action because there's strength in numbers here. And that's exactly what we need in order for this to work. So I guess that's it. Just have fun. And let us know how it goes. You can always drop us a line if you have any questions, comments, throw them down below. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to be making a ton more. We're going to be making a lot more videos here for you guys to help out and yeah, just a little education series, make things a little bit easier to digest within Extinction Rebellion, because there is literally a tsunami of documents and not everybody is super keen to do all the homework and reading themselves. So we're going to try to make that easier for you. Alrighty, thank you very, very much. And yeah, good luck, Rebels.